Hey, this is the national treasure, Nick Aldis, and you're listening to the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast, a birthday edition. Mine. We are the hosts. He is a stallion. I am the enforcer, and we are back with our SummerSlam extravaganza. It's not really an extravaganza, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about WWE SummerSlam 2020 from the Amway Center, right? That's where it is.
Yeah, the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Yes.
Who plays there? Does anybody play there? Do the Orlando Sparks play there?
I don't think so, Mike. I don't think that's who plays there. No.
What WNBA team packs the rafters of the Amway Center?
I don't know.
Hey, I have a hot take this morning. It's not wrestling related. You want it really quick?
I'm concerned, but sure.
Michael Rappaport is the least athletic, douchiest, most physically incapable sports guy to have an opinion on anything. As per, he tweeted out, why is he considered one of the GOATs with so many losses? To which I responded to Michael Rappaport from our Twitter, and I said, Eddie Murphy carried you through the movie Metro. So I feel like that needs to be said. I'm so sick of Michael. The dogs are just furious. Now all of them are going to get pissed. I'm just so sick of Michael Rappaport being on every sports show for no reason. He was in Metro and Beautiful Girls, and that was it. But he's got no business giving an educated opinion on anything sports related unless it's like how to be super fucking pasty and unassuming. So that's all. I feel strongly about that. I heard him with Skip and Shannon, and he's talking. And I'll never forget, Michael Rappaport walked out of Madison Square Garden, I think when it was Daniel Cormier versus somebody. He's like, you're in the Garden. You shouldn't be wrestling. You should be throwing punches. Shut the fuck up and go to a boxing match, you little dweeb. He's the kind of guy that would get a swirly and just sit in the locker and then go to the vice principal at the end of the day to complain about it. What a douche. That's all I got. Hot Take Wednesday, baby. Coming in fire.
The Skip and Shannon piece is really, I think, what concerns me the most. But
What? What's the problem with the Skip and Shannon piece?
Why do you watch Skip and Shannon? That's
because I take it as entertainment. See, you should it's like the same reason people listen to Jim Cornette. I don't take Skip or Shannon's takes at factual, but I enjoy the back and forth. Skip gets me every time. Like I just pop for it. So it's like listening to Jim Cornette on like wrestling. Like his takes are just so literally over the top and nonsensical, but people listen to him because they're funny, and that's why I listen to Skip and Shannon.
So SummerSlam is going to be taking place on Sunday.
Are you a Michael Rappaport guy? Did I offend you? Are you a fan of Michael Rappaport?
No, I don't really necessarily have feelings one way or the other towards Michael Rappaport, to be honest with you. So,
all right. Well, now I feel like a piece of shit. So I guess
I'm just concerned. I'm concerned that you're spending time watching Skip and Shannon, but that's for another day. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is.
You said you listen to Jim Cornette's podcast.
I said I tried to listen to Jim Cornette's podcast for about 15 minutes, and it was too negative for my blood. So
you just listen to one episode. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to SummerSlam, man. Side note: I tried to sign up for Thunderdome, and
how did that go? What happened?
Not well. They told me no.
They told you
Thunderdome is the new interactive WWE. I don't even know how they're going to do it, man. It should be cool. WWE has a bajillions of dollars of Saudi blood money that they could use to spend on things. And they're going to offer a different presentation with virtual fans in the audience. I'm assuming the way MLB kind of does it, maybe. I don't know. But I tried to sign up for it, and it was full. So maybe the entire arena is going to be packed with visual fans.
Yeah, my understanding is that they're going to have LED boards, I guess, set up in the arena. I don't know if it's going to be like in the seats or how they're going to do that, but they're going to have LED boards with, I guess, streaming in fans and their reactions to things that are happening during the matches. I don't know exactly all the details, of course, in terms of if there's going to be sound and how all that stuff is going to look, or if it's just going to be visual. But that's how they described it. So I guess we'll see how it looks I think they're starting it Friday, if I'm not mistaken, right? Friday on SmackDown.
Yep.
gonna be the
They
first
said they're going to be
instance.
lasers, smoke, lots of sizzle, Joe. Not a lot of steak.
No.
And without further ado, let's get to the steak, man. Let's get to SummerSlam 2020. Can they announce it like that? I think that'd be cooler.
Yeah, why don't you tweet Michael Cole and see if he's willing to. Does he have a Twitter? I don't even know. No one
No,
probably follows him.
it's probably never mind. Never mind.
The 33rd SummerSlam is going to be taking place on Sunday, August the 23rd from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. It was originally supposed to take place in Boston, Massachusetts, but as per COVID, we have plans that have been changed once again. So you already mentioned Thunderdome, so we won't have to get into that any further, but there are 8 matches from what I have seen on Wikipedia as of today, August the 19th. I don't know if they'll be adding any more on Friday or pre-show stuff, but I think we have most of the main matches have been announced so far. So there's 8, and let's go right down the list. So
Let's do it.
the first match I have here is Mandy Rose versus Sonia Deville. It is a hair versus hair stipulation match. They had been feuding for at least a few months now, as if they split up as a team. There was involvement with Otis, and Sonia ended up cutting off part of Mandy's hair on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, and now we have this hair versus hair match on SummerSlam. So obviously Sonia's been going through some personal issues with an attempted kidnapping from a crazed fan, which is kind of just really, really unfortunate. But this match is going to be happening on Sunday. It's got a few months worth of build-up. So what do you think?
You ever see The Fan with Robert De Niro?
I have seen The Fan, yes.
Kind of what that whole situation reminds me of. It's terrifying. And I didn't know, actually, Mandy Rose was at Sonia's house when that happened.
Yes, I just learned that yesterday.
I really like the feud. I think they're both doing really well. I think Sonia's really kind of shining through. But I think Mandy Rose is going to get the win here. As per, she already had her hair chopped off. Can you go back to the well? You can't, Joe. Mandy Rose wins as well.
Yeah, I think Mandy will win. I mean, Sonia's really been, I think, the overall better performer in the feud. I think she's really gotten something to finally sink her teeth into on the main roster, which is good for her. But I do think that she will take the loss here, as she's seemingly gotten the upper hand on television and in the feud for a while up to this point. So I think that Mandy Rose will win the hair versus hair match, and Sonia will get her hair cut.
Yep.
Next up, let's go to the Raw Tag Team Championships. It is the Street Profits defending against Andrade and Angel Garza.
They're doing a pretty shitty job with the whole Raw Tag Team division. I can't begin to care any less about these titles right now. I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, the Andrade and Angel Garza team is a poor man's attempt at the help me with the Phantasma team, Joe, on NXT. What's the name?
Something Del Fantasma.
Yeah, that squadron on NXT is the A level of what Andrade and Garza should be. Fresh off a poisoning, by the way. Let's not neglect the fact that Tez was poisoned by the dastardly Zelina Vega, and then didn't seem to care as he made his entrance on Monday, because he was all smiles and dancing, man. I'm probably going to stick with the Street Profits, but these tag teams titles mean less than shit right now.
Yeah, he seems to be fully recovered from his massive poisoning the last couple of weeks, so that's good for him. I think that the Street Profits have defeated Andrade and Garza on Raw at the very, very beginning of when this feud was supposed to start. I'm not sure if we're supposed to remember that or not, but I'm just going to go with Garza and Andrade because I don't know. I don't know. Like you had mentioned, I don't really know many other tag teams that would have a chance on Raw at the moment. They've already gone through the Viking Raiders feud. So I'm not sure where else they'll go from here. So I'm going to say that Andrade and Garza will get the titles here, as per they've been losing a ton on television. So we'll go with the title switch.
You know who could benefit from a tag spot on Raw? The Undisputed Era, to be honest with you. This seems like it could be a good area for them to hop in and just take over. I don't want to see them leave NXT, but they haven't been doing much in NXT besides losing. And Raw really needs some tag team blood, because all the tag teams are just, I don't even know what's – I watched Raw unfold this week, and I'm still confused about it, but there's no good tag team division on Monday Night Raw. So
next, let's go to the U.S. title match, which is going to be Apollo Crews defending against MVP. So there's some backstory here too, actually, believe it or not. MVP was trying to get Apollo to join the Hurt Business stable, which consists of MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. He has refused. He's been in and out of action with various, I don't know if it's injuries or COVID-related situations, Apollo, that is. But they're finally having an official U.S. title match on pay-per-view here at SummerSlam. I don't know why they would have MVP in here and not Lashley, but they do. So I don't know, man. It doesn't seem to me to make sense to take the title off Apollo if he's really somebody that you're trying to push. I think MVP is really kind of a hybrid manager / wrestler right now. I would not put the U.S. title on him. So I'm going to say that Apollo should get a definitive victory. I should also mention that Lashley and Shelton are banned from ringside as per stipulations from this past Monday. And the last thing I guess I'll mention is that MVP's also been trying to recruit Cedric Alexander, who got in the mix of the 24/7 title, which Shelton Benjamin was in. So there's a lot of stuff intertwining here with the Hurt Business stable. But I'm going to say Apollo walks away still the U.S. champion.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Cedric turns on Apollo and joins the Hurt Business and gives MVP the title win. The Hurt Business on Raw, if they were not on Raw this week, it would have been an hour and a half show because the Hurt Business had about 10 segments. Shelton Benjamin got pinned, I think 3 times. The poor guy lost 3 times in the same show. It's like a new Tommy Dreamer record. The Hurt Business is all over Raw. And the thing is, like, they're a good stable, and you're already almost overexposing them. I don't know if it's because of I have a ghost in the house. I don't know if the reason is because nobody's on Raw, like travel-wise, but the whole show was the Hurt Business, and it wasn't just a thread. It was like several different segments to me. So I hope they don't overexpose them. I enjoy them. And I think we're going to get a heel turn from Cedric here. And if Apollo Crews really was a Paul Heyman guy and Paul Heyman is gone, it would make sense why they're taking the title off of him because Bruce Pritchard loves MVP and worked with MVP back in the day. So
there you go. All right. Next up, we have a grudge match of sorts. It's a street fight. Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. Dominic is going to have his father, Rey Mysterio, in his corner. Seth is going to have Buddy Murphy in his corner. The famous eye for an eye match now that happened about a month or so ago is part of the buildup for this. Seth defeated Rey Mysterio in that match and I guess pulled out his eyeball. I'm not really sure.
Plucked it. It was like a fish.
There you go. Just scooped it right out. So this is a street fight for Dominic to try to get revenge on Seth. A couple weeks ago, Seth beat him up pretty good with some kendo sticks. And this is going to be Dominic's first official match, I think, on the WWE main roster. I know he's been involved in some other matches, but I don't think he's officially been in the ring on his own. So it's going to be him and Seth Rollins in a street fight.
Let me tell you why this sucks. This sucks because this week on Raw, Dominic and Mysterio beat the shit out of Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy with canes. 2 weeks ago, very memorable segment, they literally beat the hell out of Dominic. They whipped him, scarred him up and everything, fine. Got a lot of good heat on Seth Rollins. It was a very talked about segment. Why pay off the beating? Why pay it off on the Raw before the pay-per-view? Why not have Dominic get his revenge? Whether you have him win or lose on Sunday isn't the point. What the point is you want to see Dominic get physical with Seth Rollins and lay into him with the cane, right? To me, like, that is it old school booking. Yeah, you're getting the heat on this treacherous heel, and then you pay it off the next week. What? Just, I'm so mad. Like, it doesn't. Why am I tuning into the pay-per-view? If Seth Rollins beats the shit out of Dominic Mysterio, the next week, Dominic Mysterio and his father come back and beat the shit out of Seth Rollins. What's the point? Why am I tuning in on Sunday, Joe?
Well, I guess the idea is to see, I don't know, man. I guess to see how Dominic fares in his first match against Seth. He's been involved, I suppose, in this for the last couple of months. I don't know what his background is in terms of his training and stuff like that, but I guess we're going to find out. The other thing to keep in mind is that they have another pay-per-view the week after SummerSlam. So my sense is that
you'll never see it coming, right? That's a tagline.
They could have just stopped after "You'll never see it."
Oh, that's good. That is good, Joe. You should tweet that.
Yeah, so I don't know. My thinking is that maybe Seth will get the win, and maybe they'll do a rematch the following week at Payback or something like that, and that'll be the payback of Dominic. The other thing, I guess, is that I don't know exactly when it's supposed to happen, but I think in the next month or two, or maybe a little bit after that, I'm not sure, that Seth is supposed to take time off to spend time with a newborn child. So my sense is that I'm going to go with Seth getting the win, and then they'll have a rematch of some sort at Payback the following week. That's my prediction.
You have to pay me back for watching this, right? No, Liz, I think I keep forgetting about Payback. Yeah, so Seth probably wins, but to me, it takes all of the luster. I want to. It's like people want to see Randy Orton get his ass kicked, so they're going to tune in on Sunday. This is the same thing. Why have Dominic and Ray get the upper hand going into the pay-per-view? It doesn't make sense. Seth wins. I don't care. What's next?
Let's go to the women's title matches next. So it's a little bit of a unique situation here with that. So Bayley is going to be defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Asuka. Asuka won a triple brand battle royal or something on SmackDown, where they had women from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in a battle royal, which Asuka won. Asuka was already challenging Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title on this pay-per-view. It was determined on Monday that she's going to be facing Bayley first. So it's going to be Asuka versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship first, followed by Asuka versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. And then somehow in all this, there's going to be a Raw Women's Tag Team Championship match at Payback, but we don't know who the opponents are yet. So that's all I got for this one.
I'm going to go with Asuka winning both belts, and I think Sasha will cause Bayley to lose, and Bayley will cause Sasha to lose, and then there will be some dissension amongst the ranks, and they will probably lose their tag team titles the next week. Everybody's in love with the whole two belts maybe thing, so I think that's probably the direction they're going to go in. I'm happy for Asuka because every time she gets a title, she loses it like disgustingly. She was given the Money in the Bank, and then she lost it to Sasha, or she lost to Bayley. Sasha was the ref. Bayley was the ref.
She won Money in the Bank, and that turned into the Raw Women's title because Becky left due to pregnancy. So,
and then who did she just beat at the last pay-per-view? I mean, who beat her?
Well, so Sasha ended up defeating her because of the stipulation that Stephanie McMahon put in where the title could change on account of her disqualification. And Asuka lost the title because she left the ring to help Kairi Sane, who was being beat up in the backstage area by Bayley. Thus, Sasha won the women's championship via countout.
Right, and then the match before that, Bayley had just put on a referee shirt and counted the 3, and then okay. Yeah, Asuka's had a pretty rough stretch, I feel like, in terms of nothing making sense for her. So maybe giving her the double titles here and causing some friction amongst the glorious role models. I don't even know what their tag team name is. But yeah, I'm going to go Asuka taking both titles.
So I'm going to say Asuka beats Bayley and wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, which doesn't even necessarily make sense because she's a Raw wrestler. But I don't really think that they pay attention to stuff like that anymore. And I'm going to say that Sasha is going to retain the Raw Women's title to build up some tension, like you mentioned, between Bayley and Sasha, especially since Bayley has now agreed to defend the title first. I could see her complaining that she had to wrestle first, and that Sasha had an easier time with a more worn down Asuka, depending on I don't know how the matches will be spaced out on the show. So I'm going to say that Asuka wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha retains the Raw Women's Championship on this show, and we'll see if that builds up to an eventual final breakup of Bayley and Sasha. But they've been dragging that out for a while, so we'll see how that goes.
I know you told me last week that Bayley's been your favorite character on television. So
yeah, she's my favorite character one of my favorites to change the channel to when she comes on television. So that's been a very consistent thing. I've actually gotten to the point now where she's replaced Nia Jax because I just don't even watch before Nia Jax gets on the television screen. So I've gotten that down to a much. I didn't actually see Nia Jax at all on Monday. I managed to sneak around that, so it worked out pretty well for me.
Quick aside, did you see Nia Jax comment on the Velveteen Dream thing?
I did.
I think that's the first time that the internet has been on Team Nia Jax, which was surprising. Somebody posted how Triple H had mentioned that they did an independent investigation into the Velveteen Dream allegations and they found nothing. And Nia Jax posted just like 10 clown pictures, I guess, meaning that Velveteen Dream is a clown or Triple H is a clown. I'm not sure how I interpret that.
I'm not sure. I think that they may have had Detective Frank Drebin on the case. That seems like, I don't know.
In the year 2020, did you just make a Naked Gun reference?
Yeah, man. Leslie Nielsen.
Let me ask you, how many listeners got that reference? Because if you did, actually, no, Bagu definitely got the reference. I love Naked Gun. What a movie.
People watch SummerSlam 94. They would know that Leslie Nielsen would appear on that show, right? Undertaker versus Undertaker.
90. Wow. Great. Really good job. Really, really good job.
So now we have our two main event title matches. It is Braun Strowman defending the Universal title against The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Gosh almighty. They had the swamp fight at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which wound up with people in the water and stuff. I don't really know what's going on. The latest development in the storyline has been the involvement of Alexa Bliss, and she's been kind of used as a pawn of some sort between the two. I don't know if there's supposed to be a situation now where they've changed personalities. I'm not really sure that I'm following it. But this is actually going to be The Fiend against...
Oh, it is The Fiend.
Yeah, that's my understanding based off of reading it. So Strowman has defeated Bray Wyatt in the past, and then he faced old school Bray Wyatt in the swamp fight, and now it's The Fiend. So we got a little bit of a three faces of Wyatt situation going on, I guess. And I don't know, man. I just feel like they should put the title back on Bray. I think they shouldn't have taken it off of him to begin with the whole Goldberg thing at the beginning of the year. No disrespect to Strowman, but he's not necessarily, to me, a compelling babyface for the show. And I'm going to say, right? I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't. I'm not, and that's not me being facetious. I really don't know if he's supposed to be a heel or not. I didn't really understand that segment with Alexa and the switching spots and everything. So I'm just going to say that Bray Wyatt wins the Universal Championship on Sunday.
It's really, really hard to follow. I thought maybe at SmackDown there was a double turn because Alexa slapped the shit out of Braun Strowman, and then he had her up in the gorilla press and was going to throw her out of the ring. Fiend's music hits. Bray is coddling Alexa. Braun is on TV. I really feel like our buddy Bruce is trying for an Undertaker Kane aspect angle here. It's not Braun. Again, not to be disrespectful, Braun doesn't have the layers as a character that the Undertaker and Kane did. So I agree with you on this one, and I think Bray Wyatt was one of those guys that really didn't need the title, but once you threw him in the title picture, now what do you do? Like, so I agree. Well, Goldberg has 2 matches left this year. I don't know if you read that today. So
I did.
Maybe Braun keeps it and Goldberg comes back and gets that title, and then Bray gets the title back. You interested?
What was the deal with him now? He has 2 matches a year. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Until 2023, yeah.
Okay, so he's fulfilled his obligations then for 2020, right? He beat Bray and then lost to Strowman. So is he done for the year?
Oh yeah, he did. You're right. Yeah, so we're good.
So basically what we can do now then is have Bray win the title at SummerSlam, keep it until WrestleMania of 2021, and then have Goldberg beat him at WrestleMania next year, since he'll be
And
back
then-
on the.
Yeah, then he could drop title at SummerSlam. Nice cycle. I'll go with Bray because you can't lose again. He really just can't. It makes no sense. So Bray's your SmackDown champion.
Here we go. All right. So finally, we have Drew McIntyre defending the WWE title against Randy Orton. This is the Raw WWE Championship match. Boy, well, I guess here's the positives. I guess I can say about this. Orton has been probably the top heel on the show since he's had his feud with Edge, right? I think a lot of people would say that this is his best work in a couple of years, probably since his situation with Bray Wyatt on SmackDown a few years back. I like the idea of the feud. I think that Orton is deserving of being in this position at this point, just given how he's performed on TV. And McIntyre has done an admirable job of being the champion since WrestleMania. The part that I guess confuses me is the involvement of Ric Flair. Orton took Ric Flair on about a month ago, maybe, as a manager, which I know people were confused about at the time, especially since we're in the pandemic era and Ric Flair is 71 years old and has a history of health issues. But nonetheless, he
Almost died like twice last year with bad heart. Like why? Yeah, I got you. Continue.
Yeah, so he's been involved. I think he low-blowed Christian on that episode of Raw where Christian was there to avenge Edge. Was with Orton for about a month or so, I guess, through a little bit of a mini feud with the Big Show. And then this about 2 weeks ago on Raw, Orton decided he didn't need Flair anymore, or really at all to begin with, and gave him a low blow, punted him in the head. There was a whole big angle around that. This past Monday, Shawn Michaels, of course, had to appear to avenge or stand up for Ric Flair. He ate an RKO and a punt to the head as well, and eventually Orton RKO'd Drew McIntyre. So the feud's a little wonky to me. I'm not sure why all those other folks need to be involved. I thought they could have had a perfectly fine storyline on their own. But nevertheless, we land in the same position, which is Orton challenging Drew McIntyre. I think they're going to switch the title to Orton. I do. I'm just going to say that Orton wins here. Again, I don't know, with the Payback pay-per-view looming a week later, I don't know how that's going to factor into things. But I'm going to say that Orton wins because ratings are still low. They're moving into the Thunderdome. Maybe they're going to try to get some momentum out of that and putting the title back on an established guy like Orton. I can totally see Vince and Bruce going in that direction. So I'm going to say that Orton wins the WWE title.
Hey, Joe, what's a synonym for payback?
A synonym? Revenge?
Retribution. Maybe we get some sort of payoff of retribution at payback. I don't know. I agree with everything you said. It's not like, to me, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it would have made more sense if Flair was McIntyre's second, right? Like that to me would have made sense. Like, it's a weird situation, especially this whole week with the Shawn Michaels thing. Nobody knew that Shawn Michaels, like, why does Drew McIntyre, because besides him being a good guy, why does he give a shit that Michaels got kicked in the head? Like, you know what? Because Randy's so dastardly. It's a little bit of a disconnect for me. Speaking of a disconnect, how about the whole Shawn Michaels getting RKO'd and then getting punted and then getting up, and like the internet and Velvet Sky is cutting a promo on Michaels on Twitter, and Bully Ray and Leo Rush and stuff like that. And I know you're a big Michaels guy, so I want to make this known. I don't think Shawn Michaels took it upon himself to get punted, RKO'd, and then decide to get up. Michaels knows how to sell. He's a professional. I think the whole idea was for him to get up, get in the corner so Randy could attack Drew McIntyre. I don't think Michaels was like, you know what, because Velvet was like, she just was single-handedly ruined Randy Orton. I'm like, pump the brakes. Michaels knows what he's doing. He's a king of psychology. That's a disconnect with the writers there. That's not a problem with what Shawn Michaels did. And I thought the end of Raw was ridiculous. So Michaels is propped up in the corner. McIntyre's tending to him. Randy comes in. McIntyre fights off Randy. Randy leaves. McIntyre completely turns his back to Randy again, only for Randy to come back in and get RKO'd. This shit makes no sense. It's terrible, terrible writing. The third hour for Raw was a .44. It's the lowest it's ever been. So what makes them think putting the title on Randy is, I think you're right, first of all. I think they're going to switch the title. And maybe they're going to switch the title because they want Drew to win it when there's arenas again. A, we don't know when that's going to be. B, Drew McIntyre has been putting on better matches with the title, and him carrying it has actually elevated. I actually think the title has elevated Drew McIntyre. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think he, like you were saying earlier about Apollo, right? This is a rumored to be a Heyman type push, right? I mean, Heyman really started pushing him at the Rumble, had him take out Brock. He beat Brock at WrestleMania, McIntyre, that is. So, yeah, I mean, I think, and it's been nice to see the title on the show every week, which is something that's not been the case for, really a consistent period of time over the last several years. So,
and it's not overbearing, right? Sorry to cut you off, but like, it's not like they're beating you over the head with the title. It's there. It's one segment, and that's it. And I think that's a little bit different than what they usually do.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, I think he's done a fine job. I mean, it's hard to gauge, how people are perceiving it because there's no fans in the arena, and the ratings, of course, as you noted, are down. No one really knows for sure how much that's attributed to the pandemic or not. Some shows have taken a hit. Other ones took a hit and have bounced back a bit. So I don't know. But, yeah, I just think I think that they're going to switch it. Either if it's not this week, they'll do it the following week. But I think they'll put it on Orton. And, I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go from there. I think the idea was supposed to be that he was supposed to fight Edge again at SummerSlam. That was supposed to be the original plan, but Edge is injured and not available for that. And they elevated Orton to the title shot. So, yeah, I mean, I like Drew. Unfortunately, I think he's been in a rough situation the last several months, but he's done, a nice job. He's had good matches. But I think they're going to switch it to Orton here.
Yeah. And, like you said, some shows have bounced back from the ratings. Some shows have lost ratings. Let's just call it what it is. AEW last week did over 900,000 views, 900,000 viewers. They've changed nothing. Their show has been exactly the same. The WWE is trying this Thunderdome thing to kickstart people back into watching the show. People fell off from wrestling, period, when the whole COVID era no fans thing started. AEW was able to recoup the fans. How did they do it? By putting on people you want to see in good matches, and it's really not rocket science. So, as I mentioned earlier, the AEW to me is a little more steak than sizzle, as JR would say, and now WWE is trying to get a little more sizzle and steak with the whole Thunderdome thing. And I think this is an opportunity that they need to cash in on to not only, if you're going to present the Thunderdome thing, you have to make the in-ring product better too. You're going to get more eyes on your product with this Thunderdome gimmick, and I think it's a great idea, but make what's going on in the ring better as well, and really do your best to capture that lapsed fan back. And I hope they do it this weekend. I don't think putting the title on Randy Orton is the way to go, but knowing who's booking, how they're booking, I agree with you, and I think Randy Orton is going to be the champion come Friday. I mean, Sunday? Come Sunday. Saturday? Sunday? And Saturday is NXT TakeOver 30, correct?
Yeah, so, I mean, the weekend festivities really are NXT has TakeOver 30 on Saturday. AEW is going to be running at 6 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, early evening leading into that. And then Sunday is the SummerSlam pay-per-view from the Amway Center with Thunderdome. And then they're going to do Monday. I think they're going to do Raws and SmackDowns from the Amway Center going forward, is my understanding. They're going to do it with the Thunderdome setup. I believe NXT is going to stay in the Performance Center from what I read or what I've heard. But that's their plan going forward. So we'll see. Maybe that'll help bring some people back to watching the show. I mean, I think the storylines are really, I think, what are going to draw people back in if they can do that. So it's, the in-ring matches a lot of times are usually, depending on who's in the ring, could be pretty good. They have a lot of good talented workers. I think the storylines are what they need to work on. Some of this eye for an eye stuff is a little bit much.
Like Raw Underground?
Yeah, I'm waiting for that Raw Underground title. You saw that picture I sent you last night, right? With Shane with the big aluminum foil U on his belt. That's what they're gonna use.
I mean, if there's any, what was your tweet on Monday about Raw Underground?
It makes me dizzy.
The camera work is. I understand they're trying to protect the strikes, right? Because obviously, clearly, you're shooting it more like aggressively. But dude, the zoom in, I'm getting motion sickness just trying to watch Raw Underground. So, and I mean, at a .44 third hour, which is when Raw Underground starts, I don't know. But you're right. That title, once we get that title on the show, baby, everything's going to turn around.
I'm real pumped.
I'm looking forward to it. Listen, it's giving me something to do this weekend. I'm looking forward to AEW on Saturday. I'm going to watch NXT and going to watch SummerSlam on Sunday. You're not going to be around all weekend. Stein's going on a little minication. Are you going to be home in time to watch SummerSlam?
Yeah, I'll be back on Sunday for the SummerSlam, the Summerfest. So I will check it out on Sunday night and try to catch up with some of the AEW and NXT stuff as well when I can on Sunday night into Monday. So,
Well, I'm not going anywhere. So if anybody wants to chat along with me as I watch Saturday night's festivities from 6 o'clock on, find us at All Night Long WP on your Twitter, on your Instagram. Joe, your Instagram game has really stepped up a notch. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. New stories, new pictures every single day. Today, Joe is going to detail. Actually, you were telling me earlier you're going to Instagram live your entire shoulder workout today. So I'm really looking forward to that. What time should we expect that?
It'll probably be like around midday.
Okay.
A little midday. I'm gonna be watching some. I'm gonna be binge watching some Boston Public, which is a famous Michael Rappaport show. So I feel like
nothing about that is famous because
I owe it to Michael Rappaport. I think to just to balance out, the situation from earlier. So. He was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm just saying. For one.
I can't believe you just brought it back. You know what? Well, that's it for another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. He's your host. He's a Stallion. I'm the Enforcer, and we are tapping out.